Hello, and thank you for joining us today in our study of the book of Psalms. Today we're in Psalm 133, and this is going to be another of the songs of David. This is also one of the songs of ascents. It's only 3 verses in length, but the topic under consideration with this song of going up is unity, and what unity feels like, what it looks like, uh, what impact it has on those who observe it and those who are a part of it. And so, while it's only 3 verses, this particular psalm has a lot of meat to it. So, let's see what David has to say in Psalm 133. Beginning in verse 1, we read, Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious oil upon the head, running down on the beard of Aaron, running down on the edge of his garments. It is like the dew of Hermon descending upon the mountains of Zion, for there the Lord commanded the blessing, life evermore. Here in Psalm 133, there's this initial phrase in verse 1 of how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. And so this idea of how good it is, how pleasant it is, how beautiful it is when brethren dwell together in unity is what is going to be considered. And he's going to give 2 different comparisons. And the thing about it is, if we're not familiar with the comparative elements that are being used, then we are going to miss the boat on what it is that he's talking about and why these comparisons hold so much value. So let's take a moment and examine each of these comparisons. The first one is in verse 2, where he says, It is like the precious oil upon the head, the running down on the beard of Aaron, running down on the edge of his garments. This is the anointing oil. It is the oil that was commanded to be put together by God to Moses when the priesthood was first being formed. And the high priest and the other priests were to be anointed with this oil. But specifically, it was for Aaron as the high priest initially. And it was an oil that had several different ingredients, but it was an oil that was going to uh, it was going to leave a mark, so to speak, on Aaron. But there was another element to this oil as well. Now, a number of the ingredients of this oil have strong smelling properties. They were ones that could be smelled from a distance. And so because of that, you have the idea that is being utilized that whenever Aaron was around or whenever the priests were around, it wasn't just a matter of you saw them or you saw the way that they were dressed, but you could often smell them and their presence before you ever saw them. You would know that they were there. There was an aroma, there was an aura around them that proclaimed to others that they were present. And what you find with unity is much that same thing. When people are unified, when they have a common belief system, when they are working together and when they are acting in unison, it brings about a response where you don't even have to see what they're doing to know that they work together. Now, on the flip side of that, when there is disunity, it stinks. And it equally can be felt and observed and be recognized without ever seeing what it is that has taken place or what it is that's not taking place, because it oozes from a group of people when there is dissension between them. Unity, David says, is like that precious oil. But then in verse 3, he also says that unity is like the dew of Hermon. descending upon the mountains of Zion, for there the Lord commanded the blessing, life forevermore. The dew of Hermon. Now, Hermon is the largest mountain peak in the Palestine region, and it is going to have a height of over 9,000 feet. It is going to be one of those peaks that is snow-capped year round. And it's been stated that in the days of David, it was a well forested and mountain that had a lot of animal life on it and various other things. But Hermon was not just a mountain, but the dew, the uh, precipitation, and the snow that would come off of that mountain had a resounding impact on the lower reaches of Palestine because, number one, it is going to be one of the sources that feeds the areas of the Sea of Galilee and the Jordan River, but it is also going to have the aerating effects upon the land down below. And it's going to have an impact for many uh, areas around Mount Hermon. And so, what David is talking about here in verse 3 is that it is like the dew of Hermon. In other words, it brings about health. It brings about value and purpose, and it encourages growth in what is around it. It has a positive impact on everything it touches. And that's the idea of verse 3. So when you think about this idea of unity, when you think about how good and how pleasant it is, David says it's that way for a couple of different reasons. He says, number one, because of the impact that it has on the people around it in being able to see and recognize and to notice what is good. But in the second place, it also has the ability to bring about that good, to expand that good, and to bring what is better into the reach of others. And therefore it is good and pleasant for brethren to dwell together in unity. These are the things that I see in Psalm 133. I hope that they are beneficial to you. Next time we'll come back and we'll look at Psalm 134. Thank you so much for viewing the video today, and I hope that you'll check out others that we have in our series through Psalms or in our other studies as well. But until next time, I hope you have a great day.